Happy. It's Facebook, guys. Namaste. God bless. How are all of you? I was just talking to myself. Happy Friday. Hopefully you guys are all well. I had this show since friggin' Wednesday, man. It got interrupted, and Kurt's show last night, much love for Jackson Views on YouTube with those segments there. But it's Happy National Day of nothing really relevant. It's just, Taffy Day? Take a road trip day, but it's about the weekend. I mean, who knows what kind of culture we would be living in right now if for not Memorial Day and those souls that are scattered throughout the world, 6 feet under. Don't forget the reason why we have this weekend. I may have certain views and conservative views, but I'm not a warmonger. I hate war. It destroys people. And what inspired me in a lot of ways was the mental aspect, not of war itself, but inner civil wars that we have with ourselves. And I'm going to read off to you guys tonight some symptoms. And maybe you guys can relate to this because maybe you're experiencing these right now. And I have in my possession, for America's Mentor, a whole list of the reasons why you might be observing these symptoms. Because science now is starting to come to this consensus that indeed thoughts do become things. Now think about this. Do you deal with autoimmune issues, weakened immune systems, cardiovascular issues, digestive problems, memory and cognitive impairments, headaches, migraines, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, asthma, emotional, psychological issues. I mean, I went on for pages, man, but I literally can go on and on and on. What I just explained to you, or just gave you a menu board that you can pick your poison, whatever you're suffering from in life. And believe me, I had a whole host of those for many moons, is fear. And imagine, fear, people think of it as a physical sense, but fear on the inside is the most devastating. The former president was recently diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer that has spread throughout his whole body. And that's what fear kind of does. It's an emotion that you can't see, but the energy of it culminates and it just explodes everywhere throughout your body. And there's an actual term from that, but this show I was inspired to do this show tonight after watching a reel by Tom Cruise. Believe it or not. He had a great point that I want to share with you guys, but because the more you live in the fear mindset, it's going to turn into an anchored emotion. And whatever the cause of that anchored emotion is going to be your effects. But out of the quote box tonight, this is from Mark Twain. Do the thing you fear most, and the death of fear is certain. It is. I mean, I can attest to that. I mean, I suffered from all that shit for so many years. And it really gave me a boost in confidence in how thoughts become things and the theories behind it, because I was testing all these things that I'm showing you guys on myself for years and practiced them. And before America's Mentor even culminated years ago, I was practicing these, and it does. It really balances the body when you're facing your fears, because if you don't face your fears are going to face you. They're going to face you literally on a physical sense. But the problem with that is fear. People take fear as, yes, they know it's a strong emotion per se, but there's a spiritual meaning behind fear. Then I'll get to Tom Cruise's method on dealing with fear from a physical level, because that'll turn into an emotional anchor, which will benefit everybody. But think about this. The spiritual meaning of fear signifies a lack of trust or faith in a higher power. And really think about that. It signifies a lack of trust or faith, because you've tried something once, twice, however, you're basically losing your faith in your ability to do it. Therefore, you come up with these emotions of guilt and shame and all these. You see how it grows like the cancer in our former president? It goes on to say, Fear signifies the lack of trust or faith in a higher power, also represents self-doubt and lack in faith. Hence, you've given up. You still think about your desire. You're still feeling it every day. You still want it, but in essence, you've curled up in this little mental ball that you're not pursuing it on some level. But the problem is it doesn't go away. It doesn't. It doesn't. That fear, it's going to grow into shame, guilt, anger, rage, all these symptoms that are going to grow into your physical outlook in life. It goes on to say, which is amazing, because fear is something that's not there, that we create. Yeah, we create it with our imagination. Imagine creating a better life, with our thoughts compared to all these fearful past experiences that we've experienced. I mean, I'll give you guys a personal experience, and that I've faced, I would say 50 or 60 times to combat it, per se. When I was a little lad growing up in Morris Cove, any of you guys know that Tweed, New Haven Airport down there, recently, they expanded years ago. They're taking all these flights, all these big, jetliners are going in and out of there now. Do you realize that was the norm, 40 years ago, 45 years ago? It shows you how old I am. Back then, there was an airline called Allegheny Airlines, and they would fly in and out of Tweed back then. I'll remember the day, and I remember being grabbed by my mom and walking down this street towards the airport, and all I could see was black smoke. Apparently, one of the airlines had crashed. It basically banked left right into a row of cottages along the beach in Tweed, New Haven Airport. And they basically turned it into a small little intercept after that. If you guys can recall, you can do your Google on that. It was really interesting. Sadly, a lot of people passed away. But all I remember from that day, which caused me to be petrified, literally, of flying, it was anchored back then, was the row of cars that were driving past. As we were walking down towards what had happened, a row of cars was driving past us, all filled with black bags. And I will never forget that. I will never forget that image, because it gave me the fear of heights. Because I was like, all I remember seeing was those black bags in the car. I didn't want to be one of them. So can any of you guys relate to experiences like that, where they're anchored from your past, that now you carry on? What did I do? I started flying. Yeah, I flew all these times. But I was scared shitless. But I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. Gradually, yeah, you still get those feelings, per se, about my feelings about the flying aspect of it. But you have to face your fears, or your fears are going to face you on a physical level. More than likely not so good. But getting to the meat of the program tonight, man. Tom Cruise, I mean, he's always been very elusive with the press about his personal life. And now he's in his 60s. He looks really good, man. He looks friggin' awesome. God bless him. He was talking to a reporter the other day, I think at the Cannes Film Festival, about his new movie. Or it could have been something sooner. Don't quote me on that, the date per se. But the reel that came up was powerful, because he said approach fear like a goal. And it made perfect friggin' sense. He was absolutely right, because this is the guy that does his own friggin' stunts. He still does his own stunts, man, in his movies. But he said he's petrified of doing them. But he insists upon doing them. And it's great, because he's facing his fears. He wants to make sure that his movies and his work reflect who he is as a person, a very goal-driven person. He's always been that way, and I love that. I love the autobiographies of people like that. But he made a list that the reporter jotted down that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's great. It's a great approach to getting back into relationships if you've been hurt after a failed marriage, or you're sick of tired of all this crap going on the internet, and you want to create something really cool and attract that special soul, or even going after what you truly desire. Like I did. I had stage fright, but here I am on stage all these times throughout my life doing my thing. I had to face it. And this is everything about everything in life. Because if you don't, it's going to turn into like a resentment feeling against yourself, the inner civil war. Not like the literal wars that we're celebrating the deceased notables this weekend, but the most powerful war is inner civil war with ourselves and how we see ourselves. Because how you see yourself is what you bring to yourself, because you're constantly emitting that emotion about who you are, and you can only get what you are. So if you're living in constant shame, anger, resentment, fearful about life, but you have these desires, you can't serve two masters, as I said it in Scripture. That's what they're talking about. You can't have two sides of the coin. You have to either go for one or the other to have a fulfilling life. And when you start understanding how the emotions literally create your body per se, every cell, every molecule, the trillions of cells react to these emotions. And they shape you physically from the inside out. They can rot you or they can grow you. So think of these, what Tom Cruise...
You've got mail.
I got mail. That's awesome. Leave me alone. I'm busy right now, man. Write down your goal, hence your fear, and write down how to accomplish it. In other words, facing it. I love that aspect of it because he knew he had to do a certain flying stunt. He was going to be upside down, literally inverted, upside down. What did he do? He practiced hanging upside down. You know, it's so simple, and he kept doing it even before the movie started and trained himself to overcome it. What do I need to do? He asked himself the question every day. What do I need to do to get over this fear that I'm going to be facing? And he did his research. Kind of sounds like a business plan, doesn't it? It's something that you guys can really understand for yourself. Life is, you basically, you are your own business. You are your own entity. And how you construct the entity and how you manage it is going to be the outcome of it. The bakery that I had years ago was very successful until I gave up. I was like the CEO, didn't do anything. I didn't want to do it anymore. Guess what? The company went downhill. You want to hear something really cool about that, and I'll finish Tom Cruise's list, is that the person that I trained when I first got there took over the business and now has been doing it for the last 15 years. It just shows you that when you don't give up on yourself, life is going to reward you for it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I made the conscious choice. I didn't want to do that because I was never with my daughters. Literally. I was working 100 hours a week. I was getting very frustrated, very angry that I wasn't around watching them grow, even though their house was 1.5 miles away. So I said, wait, something's got to give here. I can be poor and happy and grow from there, or just let it all go. So I can let it all go. I didn't want to do it anymore. But getting back to Tom Cruise's list, man, I keep digressing tonight. Got a lot of shit going on in the mind here. And as I mentioned before, write down your goal and write down how to accomplish it. In other words, facing it. Little steps every day. And he goes into that about little steps. What do I need to do? What do I need to learn to overcome it? You know, something, this is what people got to realize. I'll get something great. Relationships. You want a relationship with somebody, and you want to have that significant other. Who doesn't want to have a significant other in their life that makes them feel special and accomplished? You know, start off by sleeping on one side of the bed and start anchoring that kind of process of getting used to it. Start doing certain things every day. Start taking care of yourself better to attract better people in your life. It's taking these small steps. You don't have to see the whole staircase, as Martin Luther King said, but just one rung at a time. One step at a time. People think they got to get everything done, friggin' snappy, and drive themselves knuckin' futs, man. And he also said, I don't worry about it. I just started doing it. He's right, because he made a plan. He made a plan to face his fears every single day. And whatever he was doing, a lot of us don't make plans. What did Ben Franklin say? If you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Really think about that. This is literally and utterly up to you. It affects your well-being, the whole entity of yourself by how you feel. So if you have we all have these same things going on in our life. Don't let anybody fool you that they're perfectly normal, they're full of shit. We all have certain things that we're fearful of and that drive us every day to get back in our shell. What I'm telling you to do is sometimes you got to crack the shell. You can't see the kingdom if you never leave the castle. You can't. You will never experience it. And from that solitude, forced solitude that you're putting upon yourself, either mentally, physically, or spiritually, is going to manifest into those physical ailments like I mentioned earlier. That's scientific fact now. So let me get back to my thing, man. I keep freaking digressing here. The fear you feel is the unknown. He's absolutely right about that. The fear you feel is the unknown. It's something that's not here that you're creating with your imagination before it even friggin' happens. I have been utterly guilty of that. Call it whatever you will. But you're creating pictures before there are pictures. Every second of the day, your mind is taking mental snapshots of your thoughts. So why not say better things about yourself, to create better pictures, to direct your thoughts, to give yourself some confidence, to understand how you feel and move forward with that. Your sentences are seeds. Every word you speak is like putting a seed in the ground that you're fertilizing every day with more thoughts about it. So why not take the step every day, whether it's fear, confidence, whatever you're trying to accomplish, make a plan to do it. Know what kind of seeds you're planting, because that's what they call sowing and reaping. As above, so below. It's these factors in your life that'll really give you an idea of what you're creating. You can't blame life for your troubles. You got to look in the mirror, meatball. You got to understand, I'm the one creating all these troubles by my thought about it. I'm using fear as a base, but it's really everything relevant to your life. Tom Cruise is just saying, treat your life like a businessman. Make up a business plan of action, implement it every day, watch your staff, in other words, your thoughts, and move forward with it every day. Like he said, one step at a time. I'm going to crawl before I walk before I jog before I run, and run before I sprint. Stop trying to do the marathon before it's over, man. It takes time. I mean, I can attest to that. I'm sorry, I was, and people who know me, I was the most impatient, biggest pain in the ass in the world. If I got stopped at a traffic light, my knee would start shaking. I was like, come on, hurry up, let's go. Where are you going? Really, think about it for yourself. If these things are affecting you in life, remember, your sentences, your verbiage is a garden that you're planting every day. What are you putting in it? Seriously, are you planting like a nightshade, poison ivy? What are you planting? Or the most beautiful flower that's going to bloom? These are the choices that we have, because the universe responds to your frequency. It doesn't respond to your personal desires. So whatever you're emitting every day, you're creating. So why not make the conscious choice every morning to emit something better about yourself? Face what you're going through. If you truly desire something, but you're petrified in getting it, you have to do it one step at a time, or your life is going to be a miserable, emotional, and eventually physical mess. People don't realize the true power that they have. People don't realize that every thought affects every cell of our body. Literally, every cell. The trillions of cells react because they're energy, and we affect the energy. But we also control the energy. So guys, happy Friday to you. Happy Memorial Day weekend. Join me on Instagram, americasmentor_radio on Instagram, at America's Mentor on Twitter. YouTube is out of bounds, man. Much love to YouTube. They're really promoting my shorts and my videos on there. Subscribe, America's Mentor, hashtag America's Mentor. Guys, enjoy your weekend. Remember, as you're jacking on your porterhouse, you're relaxing, because I feel like in Connecticut, we're living in Seattle. I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully it warms up. You can get out, take a walk. But really, when you treat your life like a business, I mean, you give it a lot more passion. There's a lot more on the line, because it's who you are. Take care of yourself, man. Be good to yourself, and watch how life responds to that. Watch what life gives you just by when you focus on what you truly want to have, be, and do. Enjoy your weekend, guys. I'll see you guys soon, man.